Hello, this is Mrs. Duncan, your English 102 instructor, and we're in a summer condensed unit, and I wanted to go over the next essay assignment, which is Essay 4. We are in summer unit 6, I believe. We just completed midterms, and we are quickly moving on. Right now you're reading A Dollhouse, and the essay assignment, though, can be over several. Because we're condensed, I'm going to need to eliminate A Rose for Emily. We did not read that. But you actually have 4 stories that you can choose from, okay? It is going to be a comparison contrast paper, so I wanted to kind of go over the instructions and the ways you might approach it, what your options are, and then most importantly, how are you going to structure that for your draft. I provide an outline template to help you. That's what you need to kind of incorporate as your organizational pattern because it's comparison contrast, and there are several ways, as it mentions here. Of course, as usual, we MLA format, 5-paragraph essay, 750 to 1,000 words. But we are comparing and contrasting 2 of our selections, but not A Rose for Emily, okay? So you could pick from A Worn Path, A Dollhouse, which we just began, but you've got to read, a lot of very shortly, so you still could pick from that, Everyday Use, or Rocking Horse Winter. You're going to focus either on, you're going to do points of similarity or points of difference, and you need to focus those differences on, not obvious plot differences. This one's about gambling, and this one's not, or this one's about a quilt and this one's about a path. Those are very obvious. That's not college level analysis. You need to focus on the characters, on the types of conflicts, the themes. Maybe there's 2 that have something very similar or very different to say about the importance of family. That would be a really good one. That would be a theme. Point of view, symbols. Maybe they both take advantage of color symbolism, but in different ways. That's the kind of thing that we're looking for here, okay? It must be organized in what's called a point-by-point structure, where each paragraph emphasizes 1 point of difference or 1 point of similarity. And let me scroll down to the outline that helps you set that up. So you decide, after you decide on, you observe some comparisons or contrasts between 2 stories, 2 themes in the story, or a common theme, or maybe something about the protagonists, and you decide. So you've got your 3. You have to have 3, 1 for each body paragraph. So you're going to say, this is the first way that these 2 stories or characters are similar, and then you discuss one at a time. Okay, so you discuss this one and then you discuss that one, and you have a transition in between. Okay, very clearly organized, and here are some ideas. Okay, do you think Nora has anything in common? Nora is our new protagonist from A Dollhouse, with another female protagonist such as Mrs. Johnson or Phoenix Jackson. Of course, Emily Grierson would not count. Or is Nora remarkably different from Paul's mother when it comes to family in her view of money? Oh, hey, money is an issue. I'll go ahead and tell you that in A Dollhouse. Money was an issue in Rocking Horse Winter with the mom. So you could take, you could look for 3 similarities or 3 differences there. How do 2 of the stories deal similarly or differently on the subject of money, marriage, and family? That would be a theme approach. What 2 stories deal with similar struggles? That's a conflict approach, even though the circumstances are different. What do we mean? Well, were there 2 that dealt with marital conflicts or family conflicts? Yeah, but maybe they just dealt with them differently. Did we have more than 1 story that dealt with racial tensions? Yes, we did. And identity. Past and old ways versus modern and new ways. There's a way that you could kind of pull 2 that you wouldn't think about. What we're really looking for here is things that aren't obvious, that if you think about it, you go, well, I really hadn't thought about that. But that really does exist. That's what you should write about. Themes, identity themes, gender roles, what it means to be a man, what it means to be a woman, what it means to be a mother, what it means to be a child, a son or daughter, their role. Individual values versus society values. Often those are in conflict. We had that in more than one of our stories. The idea of change, okay? Whether you accept and embrace change, whether you don't. That's at least in 2 of our stories, maybe even more if you think about it. The theme of sacrifice. So there's a lot of possibilities, and what occurs to you, you want to keep it limited though to just 2 stories, and then try and find 3 points of comparison, okay? And they give you some more archetype symbols. Remember that handout about some of those archetype symbols was in the Worn Path units. You can go back and pull that up if you want to observe archetype symbols in some of our other stories and make a comparison there. But again, no outside sources. This has got to be based largely on your, besides what I'm giving you to start with, on your own observations. Okay, I've given you a lot of things to start with and ideas. You've got resources in the units you go back to. They're all open and available, but it's got to be your observation. And really, nobody's going to be out there publishing the differences between these stories. That's kind of a unique thing, but it's all got to be from you. Okay. All right, there's an example of a comparison contrast essay in your textbook on those. They talk about it there, and then they have an example in 43 to 46. If you haven't written one before, that might be a good idea. But again, once you come up with your ideas, then plug it in here and write your draft based on that. So if you just write a draft off the top of your head, you're going to have to start over anyway, and I won't be able to give you very helpful feedback. This refers to it as essay 5. It's not. I'll change that. It's essay 4. Just sometimes with the condensed schedules, numbers get changed. But you're essay 4, and it's a comparison contrast essay that brings together the stories that we have actually studied. Let me pull up the full instructions. Remember, this is only just the main components. That should open up for us any second here. Okay, here's the full document, which we've gone over this part of it. And we want to go down here. This tells you more of what needs to be in there, and it's similar to the outline. But you want to have an engaging opener. You've got to identify the 2 selected stories and who wrote them and when they were published, and then the thesis tells us what those 3 points are. That's all a thesis has to do. It tells us that this is what your essay is about, and that these are the 3 points that your essay is going to explain and discuss. When you get to your works cited page, because you have 2 stories, you're going to have 2 citations, 1 for each selection. But the template is the same. All you have to change is the author's name and the story title, and then the actual pages that it's from. So it's right there, already in MLA format. You just have to copy paste it in and add the specific information for your story. And I give you some examples of transitions that depend on whether you're doing points of similarity or difference. You say, on the other hand, when it's a point of difference, you say something like similarly when it's a point of similarity in comparison. Okay, that takes care of that for us today. Get back to I think that is due on Sunday night. You're supposed to read, take your quiz, and post the beginning of your discussion by Wednesday, and then focus on this for the rest of the week. Then I will look at it as usual early next week and give you feedback to finish up, and then we'll be headed into our research essay to finish out our semester.